Okay. Okay. I will. Okay. Good evening, everybody. And I said that we would devote this particular period to taking some questions about the method of practice, the Chittanupassana, the contemplation of mind practice. So, okay, so first I'll take Mark. I suppose he had the hand up from the last session, then Ian after him. So unmute.
Thank you, Bhante. Can you hear me?
Okay, no sound.
Hello?
Okay, say something.
Cheers. Hello?
Okay, it's coming through the speaker, but not through my headphones. Okay, go ahead and ask the question.
So, a technique question. When focusing on, can you hear me, Bhante?
Yeah.
When focusing on
Yeah, I hear you.
when focusing on the mind, mind of mind, I thank you for introducing citta, because the word mind in English raises too many questions about what is the mind, who is the mind, what it, so
Yeah, this is a theoretical question, and I don't want to try to deal with theoretical questions. I think from direct experience, you know what the mind is. So if I formulate it a theoretical concept, give a theoretical definition of the mind, then one could come up with probably other definitions. So we don't have to define it, but we just know through the task here is just to inspect, to see what is taking place in the mind, to see what kind of thoughts arise, what kind of emotions arise, what kind of memories, imagining, expectations, hopes, what kind of associated states like greed, hatred, delusion, fear, worry. All of those are mental states that we know from direct experience. I leave it to philosophers to come up with definitions of mind.
um,
And there'll be other philosophers who write a refutation of their paper, and then it goes on endlessly. Okay, so was that the question then?
yes, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, so Ian.
Yes, Bhante. Thank you. I would like to suggest, first of all, with regard to the sound problem, I guess you're probably already doing it, wearing your headphones, but just taking them off one ear so that you have access to the mic and the speakers. Anyway, yeah, something like that. Anyway, first I'd like to thank you for the fantastic Dhamma talk. That was very inspiring
Okay.
for me, and I got to take advantage of the fact that this is on Zoom and I could type notes while you were speaking, which is very useful. I'll be referring back to those a lot. And I'm proud of myself because I think I have perceived another P in the walking process.
Yeah,
Do you have a fourth one?
there is a fourth one. What
Okay,
is the
well
one that you found? I was
maybe
going to
mine's the same, maybe
introduce,
it's
I was
not.
going to, maybe don't say it because I was going to introduce it in the walking meditation this evening,
Okay. Is
but
it the
then you'll
very
see whether it
first part of the step?
corresponds to the one you had.
The very first part of the step? When you lift your foot off the ground? Maybe I've discovered a fifth one.
That would be a fifth one. Okay,
Okay.
we have to we have to ask that the questions be short,
Okay.
concise,
That's really all I
because I
wanted to
see now the
offer.
list of questions is building up, and we do want to come to the practice. Not, and I'm going to
Right.
put a fixed stopping point at 7:15. So we have to take all the
Hmm.
questions before that so that we have that period for practice. So in Inoka,
Good evening, Bante.
unmute.
Um, my question is, from what I'm hearing, what you're saying, when we do the mindfulness of the mind meditation, what we're trying to do is to see what you just said, what goes on in the mind, things that come and go. So what I'm finding is that when I say mind, 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 the things that usually come up in my mind, it's less because I am kind of concentrating more on saying mind. It's like when you do the breath meditation and when the mind is going all over the place, that we are supposed to like say a word so that the mind quietens down.
Yeah.
So I feel that I'm doing the same thing. And usually my mind is full of things come up and go. But now I find I'm just saying my, so it's stopping a lot of things coming into my mind.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying, but you see, what we want to do is to get a concentration on the mind itself. And when we do this by using the focus on the word mind, then it starts to, like the shovel that we use to dig up the earth, it starts bringing up to the surface things that are going on at subtler levels in the mind, sort of below the usual flow of thoughts and feelings and projects and so on. So they start coming up, and then we start recognizing the subtler levels of the mind. And also using the word mind to focus on the word mind, by concentrating the mind, then we start to go into, if we do it over a longer time, we don't, probably not possible in a short retreat like this, then we start to go into a deeper samadhi in which we're taking the mind as its own object. And
Okay,
then
but
that will form the basis for insight.
so one more question. So when we say mind, mind, should we say it like slowly, like mind, keep like space, or should we go like, or is it up to the person, like mind, 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 or you keep like mind and then you wait like a second, mind? What is the best way to do that?
I think this you experiment. You find your own way of doing it.
Okay.
But what I find is that if you do it quickly, the concentration starts to build up more strongly.
Okay, Bante. Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's see. That was Inoka. Then I think Joyce is the next one.
Thank you, Bante. Just following up on the question earlier today about drowsiness, I think I combined your two suggestions, one which was the cat watching the mouse hole and then doing it quickly. And I found, and I just want to make sure that this is still within the heart of the practice, that there were multiple mouse holes on the floor and mind kept popping up all rapidly in different places, which engaged my eyes a little bit. But I found that also helped me with alertness because of course, I'm controlling where it's popping up, but still watching it. So it was much more active. Is that still within the heart of the practice because I'm much more focused?
Yeah. I say for different people, different tools will be effective on, or different tools for one person, different tools on different occasions.
So I just want to make
Matter
sure
of experimenting and find what helps one get stronger mindfulness and concentration.
So then when thoughts were coming up, just a question about how to categorize the thoughts. There were a lot of almost like unconscious dreamlike vignettes that kept coming up. So I call them kind of not fantasies, but fantastical thoughts that weren't based in reality. Where does that fit in the categories? Because they're imaginative. So they're not.
One of the items that I had is the sort of the operations of the mind is imagining things.
Okay. All right.
Just call it imagining.
Okay.
So we have things, operations like planning, imagining, worrying, speculating, many different operations.
Right. These had no bearing on the
Okay, we're
future.
going to have to move on now
Thank
so
you.
that we get
Thank you,
everybody
Bhante.
gets a chance. And especially ask questions. We don't want theoretical questions, but questions that come up regarding the actual practice. So we have James Ho, and you have to unmute. Okay.
Thank you very much for your teaching. I have two simple questions. When you do the stage body scan, area or the regional body scan, you are teaching us, you taught us that from the top down to the foot.
Yeah.
And could I do it bottom up?
I'd say, I mean, there's no law against it, but it seems more natural to me to go from the top, from the head down to the feet.
Okay.
But again, you
Okay.
just experiment and see what works.
Okay, thanks. I just want to hear what you feel. Yeah. The second question is when you do the sweeping to the body, you basically said I breathe in and then you scan from bottom up
Yeah.
to the top, and is that there's a question is could I just inhale and then I sweeping from top to down and exhale sweeping the bottom from bottom to top? Is that okay or no?
The sound is not so clear, I have to say. Coming through the speaker is not very clear.
Could you hear me? No? No, you don't? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Excuse me, Bhante, this is Jane. I can repeat the question that he had if
Okay.
you like.
Okay.
I think he was asking if he can take the entire in-breath and do the scan from the head down to the feet, and then on the exhale, go from the feet up to the head. It's sounding like in just, exhale.
No, I don't
exhalation,
advise that.
inhalation.
I don't advise that. It's more natural to go with the in-breath from the feet to the head, with the out-breath from the head to the feet.
Thank you.
I think that would lead to some confusion of the energies, the energy fields.
Thank
Okay,
you.
we have to move on. We just have 2 minutes. Let's see if there's somebody who hasn't had a chance to ask a question. And the question should really be on Chittanupassana, the contemplation of mind. We're finished with the body scan. Okay, so Tom Cleary, you didn't get a chance yet. Unmute. No sound. Oh,
It's not allowing me to. Sorry.
what is that?
Tom, you can say now. Yeah,
Oh,
it's working.
okay. Now I'm unmuted. Thank you. Bhante, thanks for the talk. I had a question about the mindfulness exercise. I experienced drifting mind during
Experience what?
drifting mind. I found my thoughts drifting. It was almost like floating down a river on a raft and seeing things on the banks as I drift by. And I found myself repeating mind while I was doing that. And the experience I was having with this was, well, that's not mind. When I'm seeing, then that's not mind. And it's not this, and it's not that either. And it was in a way very interesting because it was very satisfying to sort of peel the onion, as it were, doing that. But I wondered if that, I mean, it seemed to be very helpful, but I'm wondering if that was, in fact, the intention, or that is consistent with the way that the mindfulness exercise or method is supposed to be practiced. That's basically my question. And I'll take your answer. Thank you.
Yeah, I have to say the quality of the speaker is just so poor.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bante.
So what do you have there? You have the
Um,
telephone.
I'm on a laptop, Bante.
Yeah. I'm just sorry. I don't know what's happened. I was getting the question so clearly through my headphones, and now
Is
the
the volume
speaker
any,
here is just too poor. The
is the
quality
volume any better
too
now?
poor.
I turned up my volume a little bit. Is it better? Or is it the same as it was?
I don't think that's the problem because we can hear you through Zoom. It's just on Bante's end in the hall.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you anyway, Bante.
Yeah,
Appreciate your effort.
I'm sorry. I don't know what's happened, why the sound isn't coming through my headphones. Yeah, our tech person had to go to California for some reason, so he's not here this weekend. Okay, I'm sorry. It's just that we don't have the satisfactory equipment here, and something has gone wrong with the sound transmission. Okay, I think we're going to have to get back to the practice, and maybe the practice will resolve questions. Okay, let's just do a little, for about 2 minutes, we could do some bending and stretching. And then 7:20, we will start the practice.
OK，你现在听得到我讲话吗？听不到。
听得到。
没有，我跟师父在对话。Hello，师父。你从我的电脑出来。哈，你从电脑听得到我讲话吗？你是从电脑出来，而不是从我的 handphone 出来。你这样了解吗？从我的电脑直接放出来。Hello。本得说他现在要先开始上课。没有，师父，你现在把你的电话挂掉，你从电脑的那个系统跟我讲话。我现在已经把我的电话挂掉了，我现在是从电脑跟你讲话，但是 handphone 没有声音，它直接是从电脑直接它的麦克风出来。你这样理解吗？
Maybe we will do this at 9 o'clock after this. No, it's holding people up.
Oh, okay, all right. 那就不管了。Okay, sorry, Bante. I just want to test it.
Okay, sorry everybody for these technical problems.
So, Bante, if I speak now, can you hear me?
Actually, I'm hearing from the computer, not from my headphones.
Oh, that's strange.
But
Okay.
it's enough. Then I just would
Okay.
not use the headphones, but just listen through the computer.
Okay, okay.
Okay, but now time to return to the practice. Okay, so let us start the practice of Chittanupassana, contemplation of the mind. Okay, since we lost a few minutes, we will do a 35-minute session up until 8 o'clock. Okay, so take your seat and we could turn the lights and begin with some cycles of mindful breathing. And then turn the attention to the mind and bring up the word mind, mind, and focus inward to observe the arising of that word and use the attention to dig deeper and deeper into the stratum, the different layers of the mind. Okay, you can relax now. And end this sitting in the usual way. Okay, we'll be doing a session of walking meditation now. And I was going to introduce the fourth P, but maybe I could hear, is Ian here? Ian? Are you hearing me? Okay. Yeah. What was your fourth P, out of curiosity?
There we go. Okay. My fourth P was I noticed that when I begin my steps, and especially when I'm already underway, not so much the first step necessarily, but when I'm already underway, what I do first is lift my heel and then rock my foot off the ground in a peeling motion. And so I started saying peeling, picking, pushing, placing.
Actually, that is correct. There's actually six phases to the walking, but I can't get all of them to begin with P. First, let me introduce my fourth P, and we'll just stick with these four Ps. So you could do with yours if you could add yours if you want. So the fourth one that am introducing is when you finish placing the foot on the ground, then before you pick up the next foot, you'll notice that you shift the weight of the foot. And so the foot that's on the ground is pressing against the ground. So now it's picking, pushing, placing, then with the shift of weight, pressing, then picking, pushing, placing, pressing. But what you mentioned is also used in developing a scheme of the 6 stages, which is peeling, picking. Then the pushing is divided into 2, where you bring the foot up, where you bring the moving foot up to the level of the stationary foot. That's one phase. And then you push it beyond the stationary foot, then place and press. But that is too much for me. Yeah. So anyway, we could do the 4 stages, the 4 Ps. Or if you want to add your fifth, you can.
Great. Thank you, Bhante.
Okay. Okay, so we could stand and we'll walk until 8:30. And then at 8:29, I will sound the gong for us to return to our seats. Okay, we are. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Bante, we can hear you.
I think I found the problem with the headphone. Just somebody say good evening, Bante.
Good evening, Bante. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but it's coming out of the computer, not the headphone.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so now this will be a short session of just 20 minutes. But again, just continue in the same way of direct contemplation of the citta, the mind, or if you prefer, shin. Okay, so that ends our session of sitting meditation. And before we come to the sharing of the merits, I want to mention that I think since this is Sunday evening in the East Coast of the United States, it's possible that a number of people who have joined the retreat will not be able to participate tomorrow on Monday, even though hopefully many people will still join us on the last day of the retreat. So I want to mention that the Buddhist Association is able to conduct and present retreats like this completely free of charge because of the donations of people who benefit from our programs, or retreats and other programs, and are willing to provide, to continue to provide donations to the Buddhist Association. So if you've found that you've gotten some benefit from this retreat and you want to ensure that such retreats and other Dhamma programs can continue into the future on this free basis, free of charge basis, please consider making a donation to the Buddhist Association of the United States. You can go to the website of BAUS, and on the website you'll find the page for making a donation. Okay, so let us end the session for today with the sharing of the merits. So you can take a relaxed sitting position and close the eyes, and then reflect and consider that in the course of this day and over the previous 3 days, through our activities, we've generated a mass or great accumulation of kusala kamma, wholesome karma, which is what we call merit. And we don't want to grasp on to that merit for ourselves as though it were money in a bank account, but we want to share it with other beings by mentally extending to others the wish for their well-being and happiness. So first, you can bring to mind any loved ones who have passed away, close relatives, friends, teachers, whether Dhamma teachers or secular teachers. Bring them to mind, and in your mind, invite them to witness the wholesome deeds that you've done today, especially through the intensive practice of meditation, as well as having Dhamma discussions and listening to the Dhamma. Invite them to rejoice in your merits, and by so rejoicing, may they be well and happy in their current existence. And you extend to them the mind of loving kindness. Okay, then you can bring to mind relatives or friends who are still living, who might presently be going through some hard times, facing some personal difficulties, illness, financial troubles, maybe feeling some kind of depression, obstacles, conflicts in their life. And then send to them your thoughts of loving kindness, wishing for all of their difficulties to vanish, their problems to be resolved, their illnesses to be cured, and then wishing them to be well, happy, and safe. Then we can bring to mind the devas, the deities, particularly the Dharma protecting deities. And we invite them to rejoice in our merits and ask them, by sharing in our merits, may they be inspired in their work of protecting and upholding the Dhamma in the world. And also we bring to mind the fierce deities, the yakshas, asking them to rejoice in our merits and to remove the obstacles to the transmission and spread of the Dharma. And then we can bring to mind the beings in the lower realms, particularly the realm of the pretas, or so-called hungry ghosts, the afflicted spirits, who depend on the merits of others. And we ask them to rejoice in our merits. And by so rejoicing, may they be free from their hunger and their thirst and other afflictions. And may they quickly be reborn into the human world in good conditions. And then we think of all of the troubled spots here in our human realm, particularly now Ukraine, where there's a rather brutal war taking place. Some 4 million people have become refugees, leaving their homes behind, the homes, many of them just destroyed by bombing attacks. Women and children especially, starting out for a new life, leaving their husbands behind who have to fight in the war. And we extend our merits in the hope that this war will be resolved and that the people of Ukraine will be able to flourish again, and the people of Russia will be able to live in friendly relations with Ukraine and their other neighbors. And then think of all of the other troubled areas around the world where there's illness, hunger, conflict, autocratic regimes, climate devastation, and we extend the rays of our metta, loving kindness and compassion, hoping that the human world will flourish, that governments will be righteous, that the weather will be appropriate in each season, and that people can live together in peace and harmony. Okay, continue to generate the loving kindness and extend it over the world, and I'll recite the verses for sharing the merits. Akasata cha bhumata deva naga mahidika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakantu sasanam. Akasata cha bhumata deva naga mahidika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakantu desanam. Akasata cha bhumata devanaga mahidika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakantu mang parang. Dukkha pata chani dukkha baya pata chani baya soka pata chani soka antu sabepi panino. May those in suffering be free from suffering. May those in fear be free from fear. May those in sorrow be free from sorrow. May all living beings also be thus. And we go sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And then we'll end the program for the day with 3 bows to the Buddha. But remember, again, I remind you, especially the people in California, who for them it's now 6 o'clock, so they have a whole evening ahead of them that they can at least put in 1 more hour of practice. And even here on the East Coast, it's from 9 to 10. One could take a little rest and then put in another sitting before going to bed. Okay, so let us do 3 bows to the Buddha.
Three bow to the Buddha. Bow to Bante.
Thank you, Bante.
Thank you, Bante.
Thank you, Bante.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, Bante.
Thank you, Bante.
Thank you, Bante.
Thank you. Be well.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Bante.
Sadhu, Bante.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Bante. May you be
Maybe-
well and happy.
Okay,
Thank you,
okay.
Bante.
Okay, Kaidi, can you just stay on for 1 minute or a couple of minutes? I just want to try something to see if
Bante,